But okay, first the team is the initial cohort is of 15 divers. The initial training will take between three weeks to 4 months. And as I mentioned, this is being carried out in Mombasa, and they're being taken through training for both what I'd call sedentary water as well as flood water. You'd appreciate that, rescuing people from a rescue effort in a dam, a drowning incident in a dam is different from a rescue effort from flowing water, given the different conditions. So they're being subjected to this basic course, but you also continue to seek out other collaborations and partnerships that will allow us to, scale up their capacity. And in due course, we hope to have more firefighters or rescue workers trained. So that will take 3 weeks to 4 weeks. As to whether this was necessitated by the recent floods, I think yes and no. First, to mention that, remember last year when the El Nino came, we realized that we needed to up our capacity in our water rescue units. At that point, you remember I mentioned that we needed to even invest in water rescue rafts, but that was misconstrued to say that the county wanted to buy boats, luxury boats. But I think in the fullness of time, we all appreciate that indeed we need to invest in these water rescue rafts. But to just say that the decision to set up the water rescue unit was arrived at even as part of our all hazard approach, where we realized that we needed to up our skills and capacity in water rescue even before the El Nino and these rains came about. So that was the initial motivation to just set up our capacities. But the recent floods then accelerated the need to. We realized that it was now an urgent issue. And we are in discussions with a number of partners and stakeholders, including the United Nations UNDP, and other stakeholders to see how best we can improve our capacity in terms of skills, in terms of personnel, in terms of equipment and technology to be able to deal with floods. Nairobi has certain areas that are flood prone. And as I've mentioned in the past, the topography of Nairobi is that we have the highlands of the west where all the major rivers come from. The main three rivers, Nairobi, Madara, Ngong, and the various tributaries all come from the highlands. They snake through Nairobi's various constituencies and converge around the Dandora and Bakasi area before entering going into that river through Kamulu, Ruai. Now, those areas will always be flooded, not because it's even raining there, but because it's raining upstream. And for them, there's an existential threat of flooding. So we must always be alive to incidents of motorists being stranded on Kangundo Road overnight whenever it rains, households being submerged or being marooned, being cut off. And it's cheaper for us to have ground-based water rescue units. So we need to have the water rafts, we need to have the personnel, the divers that can be able to access such areas. In recent times, we've seen that in extreme cases, we had to resort to asking for assistance from the police fair wing to rescue some of these people. But at night, that may actually be a challenge. So I think the short answer is that yes, the recent floods actually increase the urgency for us to set up this unit, given that we do not know how the future will look like with the global warming, the climate change. We must prepare ourselves to deal with all hazards when they arise.